All right, we're actually live now.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Good morning.
A little bit of a kerfuffle getting ready here today, but you're good?
Good.
Got the cool mom golf cap going on?
It's a bad hair day.
It is not. You never have bad hair days. Pearl.
How lovely of you.
Yes. Okay. Enough small talk. Welcome to College Coffee Talk. Coming to you live every Monday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we talk about the college news you can use. What's been happening the last week or so since the previous show aired, and all sorts of, timeline things, what you should be doing now in terms of getting into college, in terms of preparing to pay for college, in terms of what you need to know about latest trends and news and all that. So welcome. Say hi in the chat. And this is an opportunity for you also to get some free coaching and some Q&A. So Pearl, everyone, please join us in a simultaneous, synchronized sip of coffee. Good morning.
Cheers.
Or whatever you're drinking. Pearl's a little mad at me this morning because apparently I left something on the spoon that she used to stir her cup.
Which is a green drink, which is healthy, but it looks a lot like
Algae?
stuff you might find in your toilet if it's not clean.
Well,
Just saying.
that's never the case with us. But I apologize.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Okay, so we're coming loud and clear. Everyone can hear us?
Seems so. Yeah.
Welcome.
Welcome.
So let's talk about today's topics. The first one is a list of the FAFSA glitches that the Department of Education has put out. It's quite lengthy. I don't think you need to go through all of them.
No, I'm not going to go through all of them.
And I would actually say lengthy but incomplete, because you've discovered some other glitches that are not being listed by the Department of Education.
Right.
So just as a recap here, the Department of Education massively overhauled the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid, last year at the end of 2023, and so far this year it's been running intermittently pretty well. You filed, what did you tell me, like 40 or 50 FAFSAs already, and whatever. So, but there's issues. I mean, there's workarounds. You've had to come up with some sort of I don't know if the right word is, some really creative workarounds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Savant type workarounds.
Right. And this is all, by the way, I would interject, these mistakes, which we're learning, not only just the ones we're learning on our own, but the ones that are reported weekly by the Department of Education. They have a laundry list every week that they publish with the newest issues of the newest iteration of the FAFSA.
So we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
We will talk about a case study of a negotiation that I just concluded with Boston College. I think it's a good thing to talk about because, first of all, a lot of people think that Boston College doesn't give any money, and we've never found that to be the case. But that's one of those, I guess, urban legends or rumors that goes around. And it's an interesting case study just in general for any college. So I'm going to talk about that. And then if we have time, I will do a brief case study of the mom who ripped me a new one. I want to make sure we get to that. Yeah. So go ahead and talk about the FAFSA stuff. And
all right, I'll do my best.
Let's just see who's here first that with us today, and then we can say hi.
So Lori's here from Tennessee. Glad it's sunny. That's nice.
Sunny here. Hello, Dawn. Hello, Sarah. Hello to Lori. Hey, good. Lori, nice. Hello to David. It's good to go. Donna Thompson is here.
No, don't worry. You're not going to be ineligible.
Okay, so you will talk about that when we get to the questions, but nice of you to tell not to worry. No cliffhanger for you. And I'm not going to pronounce this right, but Euladia, welcome. All right, very cool. So thanks for joining us. Take it away, Pearl. FAFSA glitches reported and secret.
Okay, so of course, just sort of responsive to the fact that someone had an issue when they submitted their financial aid form, rendering their financial aid form ineligible for financial aid. That is definitely not the end of the road. there are serious, widespread problems and issues just like that, where you're going to input your information, follow all the rules, do what it seems to be instinctively correct to find out, oh, ineligible, or oh, this information may be attached to someone else's FSA ID, and then you cannot move past that point in the FAFSA. I'll come back to that. But as of this week, this Monday, for this going week, there are 20 issues for this week as reported by the Department of Education, which doesn't even include
Pearl's
my own
issues.
issues. Right.
Oh, she had issues.
But of the 20, I've highlighted a few that I thought were just sort of worth mentioning, just so you can get an idea of the types of problems that the Department of Education is reporting on. Not reading all 20, but for example, if a student or a parent returned to their saved FAFSA, which requires contributors. In other words, if you don't know this yet, the student goes into the FAFSA and does their portion of the FAFSA. The parent goes into with their FSA ID, not into the student's FAFSA, but into their own account to contribute to that student's FAFSA. That's how it works. And there has to be an invitation and consent. And if it's,
That's actually how it works? Or
Yeah.
is that some like fantasy?
No, this is really how it works.
Wow.
This is how it works.
Okay.
Right. In a fiction, a lot of fictions. Notice that? Anyway. Okay, so student or parent who returns to a saved FAFSA form requiring contributors has the signature removed upon return without changing any of the information. So basically, they're going to be in a loophole now of never being able to sign it and submit it. Well, that's being worked on.
Like a continual loop, like a sci-fi movie?
Exactly, like a loop, like a matrix, if you will.
Like Looper?
Like Looper, sure.
We tried to watch Looper the other day because your sister recommended it, and we got through about 6-7 minutes of it.
Yes.
Too much sensory overload for me. We don't usually do that. We usually watch at least till you fall asleep.
That's true, which is usually in about 6 minutes. Okay, another issue. Some school names are being truncated on the college search page, so much so that it will take you a few tries to actually find your college. That actually comes into play with my error that I don't see listed here. I have a couple of clients who have hyphenated last names, and according to the world of FAFSA, they're just too long to be considered as is.
Well, is it the hyphenation or the multi-syllabic names?
That it is the multiple characters, or your names are required to only be a certain number of characters, or they're not going to successfully be submitted.
You know what I want to do?
What?
I want to figure out who that offends.
Somebody with long name.
No, but if there's going to be some sort of class action or some sort of Supreme Court case.
You can always sue.
What? Yeah, what?
It's the beauty of this country. You can sue for anything.
I know. So what ethnicity tends to have the longest names? They have an issue here.
Okay, I'm not going to touch that one.
Just spitballing.
But anyway, I discovered by trial and error. I don't know what made me do this, but I was going crazy trying to push through a parent's, contribution. The name was hyphenated, the name was long, and I don't know what made me do it, but I just started removing the last letter. Try it again. No. Remove another letter. Try it again. No. Remove another letter. Yahtzee! Wow. Okay, that's totally not instinctual. This is not the person's name, but all right, I'll go with it.
I see. My theory about Pearl's very smart. So, but but you can be smart and not figure this out. So my theory is Pearl does a lot of puzzles. She likes Jeopardy. She's constantly trying to use stuff that we don't use in the house and make new things out of it, and whatever. So that's just your personality. You're like a MacGyver.
True.
FAFSA MacGyver.
That's actually true.
Yeah.
Another issue: graduate students. Oh, this is cute. Grad students would submit, and the nice thing about grad student filings, they're only based on the graduate student's information, so you do immediately get an SAI, your SAI is like your EFC, the number that tells you what you can pay.
Student aid index.
That's right. And the FAFSA confirmation page for these grad students is reporting incorrect Pell Grant eligibility information. Huh. So we can't rely on it. Okay. Feels very official. Department of Education, confirmation page, has numbers, has everything. You did everything. Can't rely on it. That's great. Okay, another one.
So what do you advise people to do when any of these issues crop up, whether they're the published ones or the non-published ones?
Well, unfortunately, at this juncture, there is not much you can do because none of the substantive FAFSA information is able to be seen right now, is not able to be seen, not by you or the school. And none of the schools are even getting any of this information until mid-March at the earliest.
Yeah. Emphasis on at the earliest, because this is the second timeline pushback.
Right, where they've promised timelines.
Yeah.
Exactly. So either these items are going to get sorted out ultimately or largely by that time, and then whatever fixes need to happen will have to be will have to be resolved, or it's going to have to be on a case-by-case basis as you get through. If you're still, once you're able to go back into your submitted FAFSA, if you are still not able to resolve the issue, then you're going to have to take it up directly, with the school. This is going to be very common, unfortunately. So don't panic, and don't just, in case you see something that renders you ineligible when that makes absolutely no sense by any standard, just understand this year is going to be an anomaly, and there's going to be workarounds to come up with financial aid packages if your FAFSA was not successfully filed with a successful confirmation page. Perhaps many of the FAFSA only schools are going to actually require you to send in your 2022 tax return as a workaround, perhaps, if the information is not relayed properly, or you'll have additional forms to fill out, like an asset verification form or something like that. Like Fordham does that every year. They'll go beyond just, they only require a FAFSA for returning students, but then they have you complete their own supplemental forms that basically, suspend and provide all that extra information anyway. So I think that is just going to be more widespread.
So everyone's in the same boat.
Right.
Understand that you're probably going to be going back and forth with the financial aid office. Some schools will make it easy. A lot of them, it's going to be not so easy to do that. It'll be messy, but it's going to work out, just not as quickly as you want. The time frame is definitely going to be pushed back. That's our easy prediction.
Yeah, just another example. FAFSA application status will read in progress, even though the user is continually trying to submit it, and it just continues to say, they'll go submit in progress instead of confirmation, confirmed, it's submitted, you're done.
Well,
that's annoying.
I like to make progress.
A student who does not have a social security number inputs and then exits their FAFSA form, they may not be able to continue the form or even start a new form. If they, go to start and then they come out of it, whatever, you're not going to be able to go back into it. That's ridiculous. So yeah, another one I highlighted, students unable to save or submit a FAFSA form when entering a number that ends in 0. Well, no numbers end in 0, so that shouldn't be a problem.
What any number?
Any number that ends in 0.
All right, so I recommend you use a 1 then. I mean, what else can you do?
Right, and of course,
Is it like
this was an
number?
issue reported on February 9th. This one issue may be resolved by now, but the new issues crop up.
Right,
Okay.
So we're recording this on the 19th. So any number, like what a checking balance, amount of money they have.
Right.
Okay, so don't end it with a 0, end it with a 1 or something.
Right, which is definitely counterintuitive. FAFSA is unable to be submitted if the parent contributor has entered a value for the income tax paid as a number greater than the AGI. Well, often, if you have self-employed business owners who have upside down businesses that year, you're going to have a negative, potentially a negative adjusted gross income.
Or good accountants.
Okay, but in that scenario, the tax that individual is going to pay is 0. Well, that number 0 is larger than a negative adjusted gross income number. Oh, well, I guess,
What about some of these that are stuck in review? So Nikki mentioned that.
Mhm.
We've had other people say the same
They are
thing.
all stuck in review now. Everybody's FAFSA correctly done will be in review. Um, and there is a way to get around that, sort of. That's going to happen if you start with the student's information, finish up with the student's information, then put the parent information in and submit it. It is going to come out just that way. It'll have a status of in review. It is not going to tell you what an SAI is, and it's not going to give you any information about, what you potentially owe or anything else, and that's it. That should be resolved by March, when they're saying that all the FAFSA data is then going to be released and available to the schools. A way around this is you can start off with the student FAFSA, don't finish it, put in the parent information, finish it, go back to the student information, finish it, and that should render you a confirmation page with student aid index. But
how did you figure that out?
Again, just a happenstance, just a workaround. I just wanted to try to see if I could make that happen, and I did, and that's how. But it's not an instinctual thing to do it that way. It really isn't. They don't tell you to do it that way. I just happened to stumble on that. But
amazing.
Don't worry. Everybody's is in review. That is the way it's going to be until March. Don't worry about it.
You're a FAFSA savant. You're like FAFSA Rain Man.
Good for something.
Yeah, you have other redeeming qualities, but that's a big one.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else before I launch into the negotiation with Boston College story?
Nope, that's it.
Okay.
This is way more interesting. Let's get to it.
All right. Well, it's definitely dramatic. So let me tell you a quick little story about a recent successful negotiation that we did with Boston College on behalf of a client who got in early decision 2, I should say. And I mentioned this at the top of the show because I think it's important. Number one, virtually everyone I ever talked to, if we mention BC and money, they'll say something like, "Oh, they don't give any money," which is partially true and partially not true, because it depends. It depends on how you look on paper for the most part, but it also depends on how desirable the student is and a few other factors. And I think the second lesson here doesn't pertain specifically to BC. It pertains to all colleges and everyone who's applying to college who gets a substandard financial aid award that leaves them wondering, hey, where's the beef? So in this case, our client got into Boston College. They didn't get a financial aid award. They actually contacted us and said, what's happening? How do we get more money from them? And I think I said, well, what offer did you get now? Well, I need to see the initial offer before we can try to get more from them. And long story short, they hadn't even filed. Like, you had already set everything up for them, told them to go ahead and pay the extra fee on the CSS profile.
It was a later ad.
Yeah. So they're like, oh, we owe, was it $16 or something? Okay. So they did that, and then and there's a timeline here because you have a deadline to accept the early decision to acceptance of you. So the clock was ticking. They would have gotten an extension, by the way, but they didn't really believe that.
Especially this year.
Yes, this is the year to get extensions for financial aid. If there ever were a year, this is the year.
Worry.
So anyway, they came back with a pretty good financial aid award, and I thought, okay, that's pretty nice. The mom, even though she's a 6-figure earning teacher, she's single and not particularly wealthy, but she earns 6 figures, and yet BC gave a pretty nice award. We always try to ask for more, or almost always try to ask for more, and the mom was definitely into trying that. So we brought up some circumstances that were outside of the financial aid boxes, right? So everything that Pearl was talking about in terms of the FAFSA and any other financial aid form, it's really a matter of what goes in the boxes. That's what gets considered, and very rarely, probably never, will they consider any other information, even though you do have the opportunity to submit a tiny explanation now on the profile and currently on the FAFSA.
You want to know what the answer is? They asked The short answer is no.
Okay.
Not really.
All right,
And
so let me-
I'll get back to that.
Fine. Okay, so let's just assume that whatever opportunities you have when you file get blown off, no matter how you slice it. So in the mom's case, her ex-husband was very far in arrears with child support, almost six figures in arrears, and there were a few other circumstances, but that was the main one that BC either didn't take note of or they didn't know about at all from the initial filing. So we came back and wrote a letter saying, look, we have other circumstances that you don't know about that bears on the client's ability to pay for tuition. And the main one is that not only has this deadbeat been in arrears for years for 90 something $1,000, but he's way out of touch. There's no way at all he's going to even come close to paying that back. And likewise, there's no way at all that he'll even contribute a penny to tuition at Boston College. And then there are a few other things we threw in there, but ultimately, within almost 24 hours, Boston College came back and revised the financial aid offer and issued an extra $9,300 because we were able to tell them of these new circumstances. And that's $9,300 on top of an already, I would call, fair financial aid award. So you should never quit. And if you have new information that bears on your ability to pay for college, you should share that on appeal.
I just wanted to point out, and now this student is going to be attending Boston College at the rate of a SUNY school.
Yeah, pretty close.
Really cool.
Yeah, right. So it was a win, and I think they're happy. I mean, I haven't really heard back from them, but I was pleased that they were able to get all this money, and it seems like a pretty good deal.
Maybe they're just under emotive people.
It was a real roller coaster, I have to tell you, because I think I wrote about this in one of my recent emails, because literally the day before that she got into her early decision school, the mom spent about 25 minutes on the phone with me saying she's so anxious, she's so worried, like, none of her friends are getting anywhere. She told me she's not going to get into a good school. Every time I try to talk to her, she says, I don't want to talk about it, Mom, and runs out of the room, teenage stuff. And then within a day, I get this email at the top of my inbox. It's like, I got in, so it's funny. This is an emotional process.
Yeah, it sure is.
Exactly.
It sure is.
Did you want to say something about the special circumstance?
Yes, there was much mention with the new release of this FAFSA that there was an opportunity to at least indicate that you have special circumstances on the FAFSA, not with providing an explanation, but that you can show that, provide that information to the school, and that the schools are all now required to have some mechanism in place or some protocol in place for listening, judging, airing, evaluating your special circumstances. That is new, but how it actually translates on the FAFSA, it doesn't really connect to special circumstances at large. They are so specific and unique that I have not yet found a situation where I'm checking, yes, this applies. Basically, the student has to be like completely estranged from both parents, legally, whatever, for you to say that you have, or unfortunately, God forbid, they were killed in the line of duty. That's a special circumstance that's recognized. They are so specific and obtuse and have nothing to do whatsoever. You're not going to be answering yes if your circumstances are you lost a job, somebody died. As long as one parent's alive, it's still not special according to these new FAFSA rules. If you're divorced, if you moved, anything, nothing like the normal circumstances are in these circumstances. But again, don't worry. It just means what it's always meant, which is you'll get your financial aid package eventually. Eventually, this process is going to come to an end. You'll get an award. And if the award does not really jibe with what your circumstances and your finances are, then you will appeal the award. And then you'll go into your finances and whatever your circumstances are at that time. And that's where we get into more of what I would describe as the art form of this process and less science computer. Like you go in sciencey with numbers and math,
Follow the science, people.
And then-
follow it.
and then you come out, often with more of a finessing art form at the end of this process. Anyway, go ahead.
Follow the finessing. I don't usually hear the word finesse and Andy in the same sentence. You didn't actually say that.
What
but
about like your golf shot?
Yeah.
You often employ some finesse
Hmm.
in your short game.
finesse of a blacksmith,
Hmm.
perhaps? Okay, so let's do a couple questions here. So Donna Thompson, you'd reassured her, but she was not able to attach her info with her students, and now they are saying she's ineligible for financial aid. Fix that.
I would have to examine exactly what was done, but I can assure you I would just hang tight until March. If this is the case, they're not going to render you ineligible unless there's some other piece of this information that I'm unaware of. That's a mistake and clearly needs to be resolved.
All right. Nikki, mine is still stuck in review, and
That's
I don't think I answered the first few questions correctly. What are the first few questions?
On the parents or usually it's what state you live in, how long the month and the year that you moved to that state.
So if you made a mistake, you can correct it after March?
After March, you'll be able to
Okay.
go back to your already submitted FAFSA. That being said, like just what's a little different and strange about this year's FAFSA is the very first thing you are required to do is agree. It's the very first thing. You're checking a button and submitting it and agreeing to let your information go through and into this form that the IRS has from you. It's going to go into this form. And by the time you're inputting information, you are putting in very little of your own information. It's already populated and it's already funneled you into certain paths based on that ported information.
And it's hidden.
And it's hidden. And you don't know what that information is and you can't see it.
Yeah, sounds great. All right, got a couple minutes left. Let me just go through some comments here.
And you have your story to tell.
Yeah, I may not get to it.
Oh, you have to. That's a great story.
We'll do it next week, Pearl. Sometimes the green room guests get bumped. Okay, been in review since January 8th.
That's okay.
That
They're
is
all in
okay.
review.
Hello to Mindy. Hello to Julie. Hello to Gloria. KS. Carol. Teresa. Hey, Teresa. Muhammad. Christine, our wonderful assistant. Penny. Sharon. Esther. Hello, Esther. And Dana. Everybody. Chris Couch. Very great client of ours. Sarah, I haven't started this yet. Sounds like it's a nightmare. I wouldn't call it a nightmare, but it's a journey.
It's a journey.
God, I hate that word, but it really is. Donna, Mark, Donna, dumb luck. Funny. No, you got it done. That's fine. Dawn, Gidget, Sherry, Peter. Speaking of golf, you ever heard of the 50-50 method of golfing? Pete in the caucus. It's coming to a TikTok near you. All right, Carol, good morning. Thanks for being here. A friend of ours, a retired financial aid director, told me an appeal could end in an offer being rescinded. Well, I'll tell you the circumstance. I'll tell you.
Right.
It could happen, and the only reason it happens is if you've been a little cute, or you lied, or you did something wrong on the initial filing, and that's probably a good topic for next week. Also, maybe I'll tell the story of a failed appeal. But it's
by the
extremely
way,
unlikely.
and they're never taking your offer of admission away. Let's just be clear about that. If you've been offered admission, they're not taking that away from you simply because you are asking them to take another look at your financial aid award.
All right, last question here, Pearl. Last thing for you to MacGyver on Facebook from Amy. Good morning. I'm not able to get past the sign-in page, and all of my info is correct. My daughter deleted her original app. Why? But anyway.
No. I understand because you're going to try to recreate it.
Oh, and sent me an invite again, and I'm still not able to get in.
Do you have a very long name?
Well, she's got a hyphen here.
Okay. So for hyphen, this is okay.
The dreaded hyphen.
Shorten your
Too
name.
many characters.
Too many characters. Okay.
Yeah.
Keep trying to do it by removing a letter from the end of your name until it goes through, and you'll be able to do it.
And that in of itself will not screw up the filing, as far
Nope.
as you know?
Nope. That's what's going to allow you to get past this.
That's our little FAFSA MacGyver, and I think that's a good place to end today's show.
Oh.
So, thanks for joining us. Great information. I hope you guys are a little less frustrated, or at least you know that other people are going through what you're going through. You know, misery loves company. We'll be back next week, 10 a.m., same bat channel, same bat time. And next week, I promise to tell the story of the mom who ripped me a new one. And what was the other thing we were going to talk about? Some sort of financial aid, something or other. I can't remember what it was. Help me out. Well, you'll figure it out. All right, we'll figure it out later.